Okay, good evening and welcome. This is the May 6th, 2024 meeting of the school committee. Call the meeting to order 4 p.m. This meeting is being both audio and video recorded, and I would ask that everyone please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. Emily, would you like to start us off, please?
Wait, the roll call or my?
It's your name.
Oh.
Yes, roll call.
Student rep.
Pete Lyden.
Sarah Trulio.
I like to throw the student reps off. Gregory Thompson.
Gordon Smith, Superintendent of Schools.
Ellery Schiller.
Pamela Blair, Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Samantha Velasquez, Secretary.
Thank you all. Looking for minutes for approval. I take a motion, please.
To approve the April 22nd, 2024 regular session meeting minutes.
Motion made by Antonella,
Second.
second by Kate. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. That carries 4-0. The committee and subcommittee communications. Antonella, would you like to start?
Actually, I attended the awards night. It was good. A lot of kids got awards and scholarships.
Scholarships.
Mhm. I thought it was a very good turnout. Yes, Emily was good.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You could have said it.
I know, I was waiting.
But a lot of families, which was really nice to see, came and supported their kids. So it was a really nice event, even and educators too. A lot of teachers were there. So it was a nice event.
Sarah?
Myself and Greg and Pam and Gordon continue to work on teacher negotiations. I've been able to get up to a couple of the lacrosse games, and the varsity lacrosse team has done quite a few events with the youth in the community. So they had a joint practice the other night where they worked on skills. And then they also had a youth night where they brought the younger lacrosse players onto the field alongside of them, but then they also did mini games at the break. So I was able to get out to some athletic events, and then obviously the teacher negotiations. And Greg was also highlighted.
That was.
The volunteer of the month, or coach of the month.
Well,
So,
congratulations.
yeah.
Nice write-up.
Was
Mhm.
it?
Congratulations.
Was.
Yeah, thank you. I coordinate the referees for, in case anybody's wondering.
Oh, you do?
This, the soccer refs for in-town soccer, I coordinate them. Yeah, and I teach them how to be refs. It's cool. It's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate?
No, I also went to the awards ceremony, but Teacher Appreciation Week this week. So we already saw a lot of things going on in all the schools. It's nice to see. Lots of parents volunteering their time to help out too, and the kids are doing little projects to show their appreciation. So that was really nice.
Great. Emily, now's your shot.
The NHS hosted a bake sale last Thursday and Saturday. We raised over $1,300, and that's able to cover the stoles and tassel costs for the class of 2024 and for the class of 2025 next year, with money to spare for the juniors to use for next year, which is really exciting. AP exams started off today, so that'll be going on for the next 2 weeks, I think. The art show we have Thursday, May 9th from 6 to 7. They've already closed off the hallway, got it all set up. So that's really exciting. And then one plug for the track team. We had our steel relay meet a few weeks ago, and the girls team won for the first time ever in school history.
Oh.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Wow. The art show is this Thursday,
Yes.
6 to 7, you said?
Excellent. Thank you, Emily. Okay, we have opportunity for visitors to address the committee. Seeing none, we will move right along. Approval of a $500 check from Grin and Barrett. Yep.
Your packets, yeah, you'll see that Principal Connor Martin has requested school committee approval of the $500 check from Brennan Barrett. From the picture, money that goes back to the school in the gift account, and then the principal uses it for the entire school.
Nice. All right.
Take a motion, please.
To approve the $500 check from Grin and Barrett to Maple Shade gift account.
Motion made by Antonella.
Second.
Second by discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed.
Thank you. I'll get that deposited for you.
And we have a playground project update.
I'd like to invite Ms. Lodi up here.
You may have some for you that we'll get on the screen.
Yes.
Do you want to
Sure.
have in a second?
Big.
So, wanted to give the school committee an update on where we're at with this project. We're very, very excited. Like I alluded at the last meeting that we did, hire an engineering firm, which is and the site work, and they're finish that up. And now we're, at the next stage where, Ms. Lodi has been working, on a design along with some of her staff to make sure we get the right fit for our school. And we wanted to bring to you, it's a 3D, I guess, picture of and this is in your packet. Everyone has the picture,
Yep.
but Ms. Lodi has, I think, additional information. Fancier pictures to kind of show you. And then we did have a couple of things to talk about because the third piece of information was the projected budget, and we are going a little bit over budget, so I did want to have that conversation with you so that we know which direction to go. But let's let Ms. Lodi talk about it, and then we can maybe have those discussions. Thank you.
So you have two different plans in your packet. One of them is more of that square shape. And that was put together by the playground that I'm working with, Ryan. What happened from there was the engineers then took that and reworked the footprint of the playground. They looked at the amount of fall space that's required for each piece of equipment and reorganized where things were on the playground in order to reduce the amount of poured in place rubber surfacing that we would need to help bring the budgetary cost down. Because honestly, the poured in place rubber surfacing, which is what makes the playground accessible, is probably one of the most costly pieces of this project. So one of the things we wanted to talk to you about today was that surfacing. The engineering firm came back to us with a different idea than poured in place rubber, which is similar to what you would see on a track. It's one continuous poured in place surface. There's difficulties with doing that poured in place rubber it's very temperature dependent. It's got a very narrow window at which it can be poured, and with the wait time that we're seeing right now for the playground equipment, we're going to be cutting it very close, if not too late, to get this installed the time that we would like to get it installed. Because the nighttime temperatures, by the time all of this arrives, are going to be too low for this to happen. Another downside to it is if there's any type of repair needed, damage to part of it, they have to come in and cut a hole out and patch it. And the patch is not as sustainable and kind of looks a little messy, to be honest with you. So one of their suggestions is to move away from poured in place rubber and use use rubberized tiles instead, which can be repaired much easier. And then just take the tile out and then replace the tile. They're not as temperature dependent, so it won't hold up the installation of the playground project. And they are, I want to say just slightly more expensive, if I remember correctly.
I believe also.
And have a longer overall lifespan than the poured in place rubber does. So that was one of the things we wanted to bring to you guys today. And then I also wanted to show you some of the pieces of playground equipment that we have.
Renee, can I just jump in real
Yeah.
quick? So the other component, and chime in whatever you want, Renee. They talked to us about the different, what goes underneath this rubber, surface, and we would prefer the poured concrete, right? They are suggesting if our budget won't allow for it to have, it's a rock. Am I saying that correct?
Type of gravel.
Yeah, so it's a type of gravel. We then came back, of course, to ask those questions. So what does that mean, though? And what they came back to say was that the ground could look a little uneven, I believe that was the term that they said. So that's why we decided collectively, let's bring this forward to have a conversation with the school committee to make sure. I believe that the cost difference was about $30,000, I believe. So for $30,000, I just wanted to bring that to your attention so we can have those conversations and bid it appropriately and budget appropriately. We talked about the ESSER 3 grant, which we had said would probably be between $400 and $450. And I believe if we were to go this route, it would be somewhere between 450 and 490. So I did want to throw that out so the school committee, we could have a plan in place. I do believe we have plenty of funds in the school choice account, and that could be a funding source if needed, if the ESSER funds ran out. So I just wanted to throw that out there now before we see all this beautiful place.
What they were saying with the rock as opposed to the concrete underneath is basically it could cause leveling. The rock may go down in some areas and the playground itself, maybe the surfacing will become a little wavy over time. Whereas the concrete, it would stay a more even surface. We did try to make up some cost savings in some other places. The fencing was one of them because it's a preschool fence, but a 4-foot non-climbable fence. So we moved away from the nicer black, pretty metal fence to a chain link in order to save a little bit of money there. And they've made some suggestions for other places that we could cut. But in my mind, and you'll see why I'm showing you some of these pictures, those are not the places to cut. They were suggesting to cut some equipment out of the playground. And it was unfortunately some adaptive piece of equipment. So the colors are not accurate on this. The layout is not accurate, but it gives you an idea of what types of equipment we're looking at installing here. So we're basically looking at one main play structure, and that structure would have walkways and pathways that are wide enough for adults and children to be on at the same time. So if you have a student who's less mobile, who needs an adult with them, they can walk near, next to, or behind the student. You're gonna see some slides here. I didn't put there, they showed this from 3 other angles and I didn't put all of them in there, but there's another slide on the other side, I believe, over here. And that slide is a roller slide, so it's a sensory component for the kids as well. All of the different ways of getting onto the playground are not necessarily accessible, but there are some points of access that are accessible. This over here at the bottom of shapes would be an easier place to get on as opposed to the other rock climbing structures or stairs. You will see the swing set in the back, and I'll show you what these actually look like, which includes an adaptive swing on the swing set as well as some standard swings. An area over to the right that includes various different musical pieces of equipment. And one of the things you'll notice on one of the blueprints is these are no longer on board in place rubber. That was another way to try to save cost. They don't require a fall zone because no one's climbing on them. So the rubber doesn't need to be there, but instead of putting in wood chips, which some of the playgrounds I visited had a combination of both, and it was a disastrous, messy area. And the wheelchairs can't get on it. We're gonna do concrete board in that area. So that's another cost savings. You'll see a dome in the front for climbing. And that sign there is actually a communication board, and I'll show you a more close-up picture of that. It's picture communication board, so students that are nonverbal can communicate their needs. Has things like more stop, slide, swing, bathroom, drink, different things like that on it. Then you'll see an adaptive seesaw that's called the Wee-Saw, and then an adaptive merry-go-round as well, called the Wee-Go-Round. So this is a picture of, and I know you're on a time-sensitive thing here, so I won't show you all the videos, just one. But this is what the adaptive seesaw looks like, and this center platform can be utilized by students as well. They can sit, they can stand. These bucket seats come with removable harnesses that can go on, that can buckle the kids in to hold them into the seesaw better. That is one of the pieces that they're suggesting we remove if we need to save money. And then another piece, and this is the one that I want to show you this brief video of. To me, this is the one thing I'd rather let go of the big play structure than this. This piece of equipment is amazing. Students with wheelchairs can go on, and the children can power themselves from the inside. So nobody needs to be pushing this around. And then in addition to that, you can have somebody pushing from the outside. And the woman who designed this is a paraplegic, paraplegic athlete. I really. Right, we're going to that woman in the video is actually the one that's. won't show you the whole thing, but that gives you the idea of,
abilities, people of all abilities can enjoy this product. So we've got seating, but we've also got standing areas. We've got areas to park, you know, for wheelchair users to be comfortable. It's a perfect example of what we call inclusive play.
I think it's a,
so that gives you an idea. But that's an amazing piece of equipment. And then we have domes for climbing, roller slide, adaptive swing set with a molded bucket seat. And then this gives you an idea of what some of the musical equipment looks like. So there'll be different sets of chimes and drums and xylophones and all different types of things that the kids can access. And then this is an example of what the communication board would look like. And that was actually input from a nonverbal student to include that. So I'm working with the company on that piece as well. And a lot of this equipment I spoke to last time, the 3 different sensory systems, vestibular, proprioceptive, and tactile. And a lot of this equipment is designed specifically to meet the needs of those 3 systems to provide the kids input to help them regulate with their behaviors. The slide, the swing, all of those things provide that type of input. So that is where we're at with the playground right
A
now.
board like that, I'm assuming would be situated too, like at a height where
Yes.
kids can access.
And the video here, and I won't show you the whole video, but, oh, it won't even open because I didn't link it properly. I lied. It shows a little girl. Actually, you can see the corner of it in a wheelchair coming up to it and
Okay.
shows her using it with her adult to communicate her needs.
Great.
What is the lifespan of this equipment?
The equipment or the poured in place rubber?
Actually, both. And then the concrete underneath.
Yeah, I don't have the answer of the concrete.
Okay.
I'm gonna just because I'm jumping into an email.
Yeah.
Poured in place rubber and the other tiles, I did ask that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you that. The equipment, I really think it depends on the level of use it's getting.
Okay.
And I don't mean to not make eye contact, but I'm trying.
Oh, no.
Renee, what year did we do that? I think that was the year I came.
2016.
Okay,
The one thing to think about our other playground is that we had ripped out the playground on the first grade side.
Yeah.
And the volume of students we have accessing that playground right now is about 6 to 7 classrooms worth of kids playing on there at a time, 4 times a day. And so it's getting a lot more wear and tear. So we do have pieces of that playground that are breaking that we've had to kind of close down right now until I can get someone out to look, give me an estimate on repairs. So I think it depends on the volume of use that it's receiving. This playground is more for the younger age range, and so it won't be the whole school accessing it. It'll be mostly preschool, kindergarten, and then some first grade. I anticipate keeping second on the other side unless it's a student who needs to access the adaptive equipment. And I think it also will depend on the community level of use.
I was gonna ask that. Is it open for everyone?
I don't anticipate locking the gates. Yeah, it'll be fenced in and gated just for the preschool component, but
Right.
I really envision this as being an access point for the community to
Mhm.
use this. There's no place in our area
I know.
It's-
That's why I was gonna ask.
to play and to see those videos, like a lot of that equipment I didn't have included in the plans. I had like a panic with swings just because of my previous school had them and kids swinging and other kids not watching where they're going. They walk in front and down they go. I've seen lost teeth and everything. But after watching the videos and really learning more about the vestibular system and the type of input that the swings give, and I'm going to ease my worry by putting a different color on the board in place
you go.
surfacing around the swing
Wow.
set.
Yeah.
So the kids have a visual of like, don't walk in the blue area.
Yeah.
It's not safe. That made me feel a little bit better, but there's nothing for the kids out there.
Right.
So the board in place surfacing, I do have the answer for you here in my. So he said, tiles are similar in cost or slightly more expensive than poured in place rubber, depending on the product. He's waiting on quotes. And both start getting worn after 10 to 12 years
Okay.
for the surfacing. Tiles get a bit more lifespan than that. They can be replaced individually for neater patches as needed, whereas poured in place rubber looks more obvious. However, the tiles can show more imperfections in the finished surface. So if they're installed over stone, which is hard to get completely level, you'll most likely see minor waving and irregularities in the finished surface. Whereas tile on a paved base will look smoother. Poured in place looks smoother on either stone or paved. Since it's applied in a liquid state.
So we're proposing the tile with the crushed stone, correct?
Not with the crushed,
No.
no.
Concrete.
That's
With
what
the
they put on
concrete.
here.
What's on here, yeah.
Yeah, because they knew that our
So you have an alternate then? Does
budget,
We want the
Cost.
concrete.
that cost change, Pam? You must have a,
well, it does change by about $30,000. We're guessing. This does have, estimating, this does have a $40,000 contingency, I believe. here,
That
Correct?
it says for poured in place on a paved base. That's the poured in place though. We'd carry an estimate of $30 to $33 per square foot is what he said.
it's 25 for the tile with the stone, right?
What I recall our conversation is if we use the entire contingency and then did the tiles with the surface, the budget, the maximum budget would be up at more like 490, 495. It's like and that's the most.
That's with 10% contingency?
That's correct.
It's I think $41,000 contingency.
That's what it is now, but we're gonna ask for more if we're going,
No, they did not,
well, you're gonna be at 450 plus the 45. That's how you get
see where you're going.
495.
So slightly, yes.
The
So
piece of this that we didn't really account for, which I think is what's showing up in us being over, is when we had priced this out, we priced out the idea of installation equipment and all of that, didn't account for the engineering. We
Yeah.
weren't originally going to do that, and you can do this type of project without that work, but it wasn't recommended to us. And to be honest with you, I'm really glad we spent that money because they're been an invaluable resource in doing the site surveys, figuring out how to relocate the playground equipment to try to save money in different areas and things like that. So that cost was, if I remember correctly, about 36 to 39,000,
Correct.
which I think is what's in my mind at least.
You're right.
The unaccounted.
It's a piece of it, yes.
So would you like the 495 allocated?
I would like permission from the school committee to go ahead. Our next step is now, and we didn't want to take anything away. And we certainly didn't want to go ordering any equipment without this conversation. So once we do get approval from the school committee, we will be placing that order this week on state contract for those pieces of equipment. And then over the next 30 days or so, we will be working with GZA, the engineering company, to create the bid specs that will then go out for installation. And that's all part of the poured rubber. Actually, we're not gonna do the poured rubber. We want the tiles. We believe that those are the better product for our needs. We think long-term that it'd be wiser for us to do that. So,
What's left in ESSER that you earmarked for this?
400, it's about 425.
Okay. And then potentially up to 70 from a school choice.
I would like to ask that, yes, and I do believe we have,
So you need a total budget of 495. You want that into the motion? And would you like to specify the 425 from ESSER and then the remainder from school choice?
but I not put an exact amount because there's too many moving pieces with ESSER that closes on September 30th.
Okay. But you anticipate approximately
I
420,
do,
just for this committee's
Yes.
knowledge. It might be 420, it could be
yes. as long as-
430.
Yes,
Okay, so the motion will be then to 495 funding that will come from both ESSER and school choice
Thank you.
as discussed in this meeting.
that would be perfect.
Does somebody want to make that motion?
I move to
Yeah.
approve the 495 funding coming from ESSER and school choice funding
For
for the school playground
that,
at Meadowbrook.
thank you. Explanation made by Antonella on her birthday. Second by Kate. Any other discussion? Gonna be awesome. Can we come
Thank you.
and swing on the swings when it's ready?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Renee, thank you very much.
On the we go round.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to it.
Exciting.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
I,
Aye, those opposed nay. That motion carries 4-0. Sure.
Thank you.
Away.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee, for coming tonight.
Hopefully I'll be able to get colors put on this now. I didn't choose colors because of the word in place rubber
Yeah.
versus the tiles are very different. And then the company can do a prettier rendering to show you exactly what the playground
Nice.
looks like.
Okay.
Next steps.
Very cool.
Exciting.
Okay, thanks, Renee. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Renee.
Okay, we have the 2024-25 school calendar up for discussion today.
Okay, so not last meeting, but a few meetings ago, when we discussed calendar, we were able to set the beginning of the school year and the vacations. We have one professional development day still left to set, which then would allow us to finish off the school year, making sure that we have the 180 plus 5 additional snow days calculated out. And then we can put the whole calendar up on the webpage. In this calendar, what we did was we took out the different recommendations for where that professional development day was located. And we just put in 2 possible that have been discussed. One was January 29th, which is in yellow on your sheet that's in your packets. And this current school year, we had our professional development day in that final week of January. It's putting it on a Wednesday at least splits the week, which maybe is less disruptive to parents. So you have 2 days, full professional development day, and then 2 more days. So that's one option. And then the 13th was where our last discussion, this is 13th of March, our last discussion landed. I think that was the recommendation coming out of the collaborative committee, if I remember correctly.
So we need one of the 2.
You can certainly put it elsewhere. Those are just two areas where we've discussed. We've discussed January and March. We haven't really discussed February because you have the vacation week already there, and we generally have, which we do right now, have a parent conference day sitting in there. Yeah.
And these days, they're school-based. The school decides what's going on those days.
No, the full professional development days are district.
Okay.
The
So I
half
wasn't sure.
half days are school-based. We only have one.
So then it's
That's in
really
September.
you and Heather that decide what's going on during those days.
With the leadership team, yeah.
And then Gordon, remind me when do the dates fall for the collaborative, not the collaborative, the collaboration time? They have those 5 hours after work as
Yep.
well.
So we have a collaborative meeting in September,
Okay,
a collaborative meeting in October. And
Okay.
those are geared around setting goals.
goals, yep,
And then we have a collaborative day in January.
okay.
And that would be on a Tuesday. Probably Tuesday, the 28th.
Okay,
The collaborative days, is that all teachers stay after school?
hmm
Oh,
Then you have a collaborative day in March,
okay,
and April. So you have 3 in the new year of the school calendar.
okay.
should those be added to the calendar?
Well, they're added in the meeting times because they're meeting times for staff. Like, we don't put in the faculty meeting days on the calendar and that type of thing.
Oh.
It's after school.
Mm,
What would you like to do, Anthony? Your birthday, you get to pick.
Thanks, Greg.
You're welcome.
I mean, I feel like you really need to look at our goals as the district and what we plan on achieving in either one of those days. And I'm not sure how much you can achieve from March to June, especially with all the MCAS testing in those months.
So you think maybe January? Potentially.
Yes.
Kate?
I'm good with the January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emily, any thoughts on disruption to students if one day versus the other?
I like the January. I like it being in the middle of the week too.
Yeah.
I think that's really, I think students really appreciate the two break too.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay. That
That
gonna
still
work?
gives us 21 teaching days in the month of January.
Mhm.
Because we also have access testing that happens in the month of January, so that still gives us one of the highest teaching days in the entirety of the calendar, even with that professional development day.
Mhm.
It's only beat out by October, which sits at 22 teaching days.
Interesting.
I'm on learning.
Okay. So January it is.
All right.
I take a motion then to finalize the calendar, including the January 29th.
And we landed on 6 half days,
PD day.
correct? Sorry, I just want to check that. In September.
We have, we have one in September, which is a professional development day.
Mhm.
Then we have one in October, which is a parent conference day. We have the day before Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
Then we have another parent conference day in December. Right, so that's what, 4 so far?
1, 2, 3, 4, yep.
Yep, and then we have one in February for the parent conferences at Meadowbrook. They have 3 conference days, and then the last day of school.
And we have everything in here for elections, right?
Election day is the November.
We don't need to worry about,
That's a full PD day, so we're not in.
we don't need to worry about September 3rd. State
Sep-
primary day. We don't need to worry
We
about.
should close in the primaries.
Okay. Okay. Okay, just making sure. Okay.
Okay, I take a motion to finalize the 24-25 school year calendar, including January 29th
Fine.
PD
I'll do that.
day.
I move to finalize the 2024-2025 school calendar with January 29th being the second
Full
PD day, full PD day.
Excellent. Motion made by Kate,
Second.
second by Antonella. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, nay. That carries 4-0 as well.
Okay.
So we'll get that posted.
We'll get it
and
posted.
to the families. I'm gonna call an audible on the last one again. It's
Okay.
Antonella's birthday. Push it off.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right, everybody.
I mean, Amy's not here, so we have her able to participate in that conversation round.
So with that, we've achieved the end of our meeting. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Sarah. Second by Antonella. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, nay. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, who seconded that?
Sarah. No, you.
Oh.